And then I realized that the purpose of life is to come to this higher consciousness. So within a week, I became a vegetarian, and I started to do yoga 8 hours a day besides going to college. Got a job besides going to college as a model in an art school doing hatha yoga poses. And then I became an astrologer somehow or another. I studied astrology. And then I realized that the whole purpose of life is to come to some other state of awareness. So we associated with the devotees, etc. And by doing that, we were able to understand what is the process. Because at first I thought hatha yoga was obviously the process in this age to get to higher consciousness. So then I'd go up to the university and I'd argue with one devotee there who actually, Rupanuga came there with his son and his wife. And they do a program 3 times a week at the university. So I'd go up there to defeat them whenever we lecture, because I figured hatha yoga is the highest truth and everyone should surrender to it. But he talked about Krishna, about the holy name. And by that association, gradually I realized that there was some validity to what he was talking about, and I started to chant Hare Krishna. So at first there's a little faith, a little liking. Usually it's because of prasadam, as I said. What actually got me to surrender is that as soon as I became a vegetarian in Buffalo, New York in the winter, there was no vegetables. Buffalo, it wasn't like modern times where they just ship everything over. Buffalo is like, they get up to 6 meters of snow with the snowdrifts in the summer. And therefore the only thing I couldn't figure out what to eat, and no one knew how to cook, vegetarian at least, and therefore I became a fruitarian. And tried to become a fruitarian in the middle of winter in Buffalo, or at whatever time. The only thing that was available was bananas and raisins. So 3 months of only bananas and raisins. Frying bananas, mashing bananas, cooking bananas, baking bananas, soaking the raisins, frying the raisins. I was going crazy. And then one of my friends invited me to the Hare Krishna temple. Although previously I knew about Hare Krishna because I had read about Prabhupada in '66 when he came to the Village Voice. And then some of my friends had joined the movement at 26 2nd Avenue. But I didn't take it. And they told me about it. They told me, I asked them, I talked to them about it. They said, yes, we wake up in the morning and we dance. So I thought maybe they're moon worshippers or something. Couldn't quite figure out what they were doing. And they didn't know what they were doing either. In any case, one of my friends taught me the Hare Krishna mantra, but I didn't know so much about what it was all about. And then one of my friends told me about the Hare Krishna temple. They just opened it up, and so I went down there. I figured it was yoga also. And the first thing I did, it was an old abandoned railroad shack. I mean, it was really quite a scene. You walk into the temple room, because there's only one room in the whole building. It was the temple room, and then there was some floors upstairs. And the floor actually sunk. It was like a hole in the floor. It was an old abandoned railroad shack. And I sat down there, and they were chanting, and the first thing, this huge cockroach crawled over me. They said, well, I think this is probably the last time I'm going to be here. But my friends who I joined 2 weeks before, that was Jagadish, and his sister was there also. I was thinking that they were actually into it. They knew what the whole thing was about. I was just a newcomer. But I thought it was pretty good. I mean, besides the cockroach. And then one day I was at the university, because I go down once in a while, and Trivikram who became Trivikram Maharaj. He invited me to come back. He had just moved into the temple and invited me to come back and eat for prasadam. So I went back there and they had banana bread. But I thought, wow, this banana bread, this is the best banana bread I've ever eaten. I said, at least it's bread with the bananas. So I figure I have to, I have to come down. This is where I have to eat from now on. So that's more or less that and the holy name, of course. So I started saying with the devotees, because the philosophy, when I walked into I wasn't really, I was a little bit into the philosophy, but we didn't know very much. Burjan Prabhu, he gave class. He was the only one who gave class at the university when Rupanuga didn't give class. So 3 times a week, Burjan would give class. But we didn't have a Bhagavad Gita at that time. All we had was one piece of paper with the translation from Radha Krishna's Bhagavad Gita. And the only verse was Deno Sminyata Dehe Kamaram Yoganandara, without the Sanskrit and without the purport. So the only thing, for 3 times a week, Burjan would talk on how we're not this body. Deno, well, he didn't say that. As your body, soul continually passes. So I was thinking, well, this is not a very, ample philosophy. I've been sitting here for a month, 3 times a week. And it's the same verse over and over again, how we're not this body. I was wondering, is there any other aspect to the philosophy? And then one day I was sitting in class, and I thought, wait a second, I'm not this body. That's great. This is a great philosophy.